The critical thinking assignment incorporates skills learned in both the organizing academic writing as well as the critical thinking modules in the course. The assignment asks that you choose one of the articles found in the critical thinking module. The choices include the following articles. Do cigarettes help or harm? Report says not clear yet. Author Matthew Perroni. E-cigarette sales have surged immensely in the U.S. Author Gabby Galvin. The e-cigarette scam. When will Health Canada take its blinders off? Author Zoltan P. Rona. E-cigarettes, what you need to know. Source Scholastic and the scientists of the National Institute on Drug Abuse, National Institutes of Health, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. York Region users hail electronic cigarettes. Source Aurora Banner. The 5-paragraph paper does not need to follow APA format. However, you must state the author and the name of the article you are using at some point in the paper. And while you only need to analyze the article you have selected, you will need to state where you have obtained any additional information, including the title, author, and the date of publications referenced. The central focus of this assignment is to establish if the article is a piece of writing that is credible and upon close examination resonates truth with substantial factual evidence. The article must be examined using the interpretive critical thinking model as a guide, and there are 10 key principles on your screen that make up the interpretive critical thinking model. So think about that main point that the author is trying to speak to, the thesis, and break that argument that the author is making into sections and dissect those sections, thinking about the context, geographically and politically and socially, what the implications are, and that author's point of view. Read into what the author is saying. Look for bias. Is he slanting towards one argument, one side of the argument, or another, or is he being or she being very objective and impartial? Think about the research, the facts, the statistics that you see. Are they clearly represented? Is the article looking to other articles in the field? And are those articles that are being referenced perhaps in that article credible sources? Think about the themes and the key words, the terminology that's used over and over. And that's why it's always helpful to read and to research. Apart from this article, look a few things up on the internet and get a sense of the topic a little bit more to help you in understanding what that author is saying. And what types of methods were used in the research, qualitative, quantitative data. And then reflect on that article. How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Does the author make a good argument? Your writing will need to be succinct and it will need to flow in an organized manner, and therefore consulting the module entitled Organizing Academic Writing will assist you with this process. Keep in mind that your paper should provide sufficient details for the reader to understand clearly the ideas you are discussing. And remember that each paragraph should have a main idea or topic sentence, and it must be supported by details that build upon this central idea, leaving the most significant detail until the end. The C principle that we discussed in class speaks to this method, whereby writers ensure that they are communicating their ideas very clearly. So you state that idea, you explain, you extrapolate on those ideas, and then you provide an example. And remember that the concluding sentence in your paragraph should summarize those details very well. Think about the flow of your paper, because it's much like contemplating the layout of the oral presentation or your individual paragraph layout, only on a larger scale. So your paper should contain the following components: an introduction, the thesis statement, which outlines your 3 points that you will elaborate on in those paragraphs, those body paragraphs, and each of those 3 points must have supporting details, and then your conclusion. And a thesis does not have to be determined before you commence writing the paper. In fact, it oftentimes evolves as you write. So use a flow chart like the one on the screen, and that can help you create an outline of your paper and help you visualize how your ideas will progress from your working thesis to paragraph and finally to your conclusion.